We're live. Good evening. Hello. It is the end of the week, and that can only mean one thing. You are live here with us, Team Superdad, friends, family, members around the world. It's the wrap up. Let's do this. Roll theme.
Welcome to Team Superdad. Real dads creating their best lives ever. More time, more money, more fun. You are not alone. You're on Team Superdad.
Good evening. Good evening. This is the Team Superdad wrap up. Welcome to you all. Literally all. We know. Numbers still creeping up, Glenn. It's quite exciting. For those watching, you can see my good friend Glenn, aka a dating dad, on the other side of the screen. Oh, I can't hear you, Glenn. You're muted, bloody machine.
I was just saying, I was just spitting lyrics and spouting truth.
He did. He just did little rap. It was brilliant, but you missed it. I'll tell you something about rapping actually in a second. But yeah, this is the wrap up. This is the end of the week. This is where we just like as if we were in a pub. Glenn and I. Glenn's got a little
which is coming up soon. Pubs are opening.
I saw your picture of you actually outside of a pub drinking an alcoholic beverage, and we'll soon be able to go inside. I kind of wish I'd started up a little Shopify blanket business for a month there. It would have been a sweet opportunity, but sadly missed. So yes, if you're joining us, this is the wrap up. We do this at the end of the week. It's two dads, two good old dads chit chatting about what's been going down. Between ourselves, our work, our lives, topical nonsense, and if you know me, maybe you know me personally, maybe you just got to know me through the podcast. My brain just leaks random thoughts out, and the podcast, the wrap up, is the perfect place for those random thoughts to have a home, to gain legs. And turns out Glenn, aka a dating dad, has been my perfect foil in this. Not only does he let my nonsense breathe, but he generally has an actual piece of factual stuff, which puts me in my place as well. So that's just...
Well, it's never usually true, but if you say something with enough confidence, then people believe you.
My dad has lunched on that his whole life. He will quote stuff from the Bible. He will quote stuff from famous people's speeches. It is kind of accurate, but he says it with such confidence that everyone just believes that.
It's getting harder in this day and age of Google, though, because in the past you could just say whatever bullshit you wanted and no one would be able to call you out on it. Whereas these days people can instantly Google it.
Yeah. Well, and thanks to Elon, we'll soon be able to we'll just be able to twitch our left eye and flick through a couple of pages of Wikipedia and have it there at the palm, tips, not even the tips of the finger, beyond the tips of our finger, because we'll be able to pull it in quicker than we can touch it.
Yeah, there was a sci-fi. I'm massively a sci-fi geek, and there was a book I was reading. It said like they get kind of indoctrinated into this world, and all this information, basically all the knowledge they could ever want, gets put into their head, but they don't know it until they go and look for it. So it's like you've got Wikipedia stuck in your head, but that doesn't make you smart because you've still got to actually think, right, I want to find out about that. And then it has to file and do all that sort of stuff. So I reckon no matter how much information was crammed into my head, I'd still sound stupid most of the time.
Oh, wow. So you could have a thought like, what color is the sand at the deepest bottom of the deepest sea?
Mm-hmm. And until you think that thought, until you ask that question, you don't know. As soon as you ask the question, you know. It just takes out the middle bit of research.
Now I'm thinking about breasts for some reason. I'm thinking about like what size were, and just running through random famous women from like,
I can just imagine you on a Zoom call. We'll be sitting there having a conversation and one of the wrap-ups, and you'll just be blank, and I'll just, Johnny, are you working out breast size again? And you'll be like, yeah. Sorry.
I was very happy with my recent relationship progress when I got to the stage of unhooking a bra for the first time in many years, and one-handed, the quick thumb finger maneuver, and away it came. It was just, It was like riding a bike. It was just a glorious moment.
Why do I get I got an image of you doing it, and they go, no, put it back on, let me do it again. It wasn't a fluke. I remember it. This is great.
Just completely killing the moment and going off on my own little personal triumph. It's all about me, love. I do want to see them, but right now I just want to bask in my own majesty. Where did that first? Did you get much like friends kind of peer knowledge passed down to you in those early stages of discovering women, Glenn, or did you have to work it out?
No, just had to make it all up. I mean, I was lucky enough that when I got my first serious girlfriend, who ended up being my wife, it was, she was in the same sort of position. So we kind of, for want of a better phrase, fumbled our way through things together. But yeah, I never had too much embarrassment about it, and these days I'm just hoping that the memories are gonna, like you say, the muscle memory might kick in.
Yeah, indeed it did. The first breast I ever touched was on a French exchange trip, and in a pure in-betweeners-esque way, I told my mates that I tweaked her nipple and then got mercilessly ribbed by them. Which I couldn't understand. In my mind, I was like, that was the right thing to do, wasn't it? Surely. But and they didn't know any more than flipping our in-betweener buddies did. But it was irrelevant whether I did the right thing or not. They were going to rip the piss out of me, full stop. Anyway, so that put me back.
Talking about in-betweeners, just to go back off on a tangent, an in-betweeners link. Have you seen White Gold?
No. What is
White Gold? It's got half the in-betweeners in it. It's got Jay and Simon. I think it's Simon. The kind of the trendiest, coolest one of them. And Jay, who's the kind of dumbass who's all just claiming everything. They're in this TV show called White Gold. It's set in the 80s.
Oh, I have seen.
Perfect. And yeah, it's Double Glazed Salesman.
Double Glazed Salesman. I love it.
I thought there was only one series, but I found another series on whatever it is, Netflix or Prime or something like that. And they've got another one. It is so good. I binged the whole thing in one night.
Yeah. I remember the episode where they accidentally end up in a dogging car park.
So if you like the in-betweeners, you will love White Gold as well.
Yeah, set in the 80s, they are double glazing salesmen at the height of the double glazing kind of revolution, and they're rinsing it and ripping people off and everything. Classic British comedy. Yeah, love it. I can actually imagine life being just like, my dad was in the motor trade, so I have memories from being a young kid of all that kind of geezer-esque sort of Farrahs and Blairs and Cortina Escort Mark 1s and Capris, just fully Larry activity, parties at our house. Blimey, my dad's a nutter. They ripped it up. They did it in the 60s, 70s, and I guess into the 80s as well. I mean, we did have fun in the 90s, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But I figured they were the generation, like their parents would have been staid and prim and proper to a certain degree. I'm not saying all posh and all that, but when their parents were kids, they didn't have the access to money. So I reckon our parents' generation were the first generation where from early life they had access to disposable income. They had houses and homes, and they could just go out and have parties and have nice clothes and that sort of stuff. And I just figured they were just making it all up and just enjoying every second of it.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah.
Like, not like technology we know, but just actually just starting to get disposable things. My dad was into rallying. They used to go and rally around like the countryside in the middle of the night. They would just have a bunch of them would be marshals, and the other bunch of them would race cars, and they would just stand at the end of one flipping point and then at the other end of the point, and they would have a race during the night.
Mad, isn't it?
Absolutely. And probably getting half pissed as well, and driving home, and man, brilliant. I think they were all shagging each other as well. I think that's definitely a
I was born in the wrong era. I really was.
that was going on. Definitely. And did you know ever hear when you were a kid the Derek and Clive albums? Derek, Dudley Moore, and he was Derek, was he? I guess. Who was? Do you know anything?
I don't know. No, I've heard of, and I know intellectually what they are. We never had any of that sort of stuff. We didn't really have a stereo.
Glenn, have you ever listened? So you've never listened to any of the Derek and Clive live albums?
No.
Oh, mate. I can't even play it because there's. I clearly I can.
I'm guessing they're kind of Spotify and YouTube and that sort of stuff.
They're on YouTube because I was listening to one today. But you
Tell
won't
me
get
about it. Give me an idea. Paint a picture.
Yeah, they sit there. You know, what's his name? The two blokes, the fat bloke and the thin bloke who used to comedians used to sit up.
The two Ronnies.
No, different than that. Smith and Alas Smith and Jones.
Hale and Pace.
No, Alas Smith and Jones.
Right. Okay.
They would do that kind of sit opposite each other and talk about stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that was like a sanitized version of Derek and Clive.
Okay.
Recorded earlier than that, I think late 70s. Whether they were pissed or not, it sounds like they're pissed. And they just talk stuff. Swearing.
In the 70s. Did they have swearing in the 70s?
I don't think I can. It's proper rude. There's one, right? They're talking about. So basically, if you're listening, right, if you're watching and listening, Derek and Clive, Dudley Moore, Clive, whatever his name was, two comedians from the British, Dudley Moore and Peter Cook, right? They recorded live albums where they were, I'm pretty sure they're pissed, and they just sit and talk crap at each other. It's full swearing, not very PC, and very funny. Very, very edgy. What you'd call edgy now. So listen, if you're tune in, right, because this over the course of this week, Glenn is going to go away and listen to the Derek and Clive albums.
I'm going to do my homework
and come back and we'll talk about this because right now this section is kind of lost on the fact. I was listening to one. They reference being at a Tottenham match, and they having a pump. But I bumped into him, so I told him, I was like, "You're a cunt," and he goes, "No, you are." And basically, it's this like they have a. I feel bad about saying the C word, right? Live out there to all our friends, family, and members around the world. So to some people, particularly our American friends. I don't mind the odd F-bomb, but I feel a bit awkward doing the C-bomb. Oh, man. So anyway, next week, tune in as we will find out what Glenn thought about Derek and Clive. It's my birthday on Wednesday, Glenn. I'm going to be 47 years old. 47.
47? Blimey. I've got to say, you don't look a day over 46 than 360 days.
I know. The thing is, if I do this right, I think I'm a bit tired, but overall, wrinkles wise and general, I'm doing okay. I think I mentioned last week I got my Thriver results back, didn't I? I told you I was fit and well. Did I tell you last week? Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
So fit and well. Got a metabolic age of, I think it's 35. So I'm about 12 years younger on my metabolic age. But yeah, one of my, it's going to be great because I've got a girlfriend. She's been chit-chatting with the kids and they're going to get me some presents. And but I'm not having a party, no party
at all. You got to do something to mark the occasion.
Well, me and the kids are going to hang out. It's Wednesday's the day that they're normally with me anyway. But what else can I do? I mean, I could book a table at a pub, but I struggle to rally a social event together at the best of times, let alone come and sit in the cold.
Yeah, but these days anyone's going to go out at the drop of a hat. So if you're ever going to be being able to get people out at short notice, now's the time to do it.
Oh yeah, you could be right. I feel out of practice. I feel like I've not. I feel like. How'd you go out? How after a year or so of not really going out? How'd you go out? Like
It is a different thing because you have to book it. So yesterday, I went on the first date I've been on in God knows how long,
A date?
and I went on a date, yeah. But it's really weird because you have to book time slots, and these time slots have got a finish on them. And in the old days, even if you went out for dinner and something, you knew you were going to be finished up by a certain point. If it was going well, you could just find a bar and wander in, and all was good. Whereas this, it was like either her train went back off to where she lived at about 9:30 or something, and so it was like 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock, or the next slot didn't start until 8:30 or something like that. And so it was like, well, okay, even if it's going really well, what are we going to do? There's nothing to do. You've got to have your fun, have your drinks in this time slot, scheduled fun, and that's it, and then go home.
It could have been like teenage. You could have, drink up, go to the chip shop, bag of chips, behind the bike shed, and then back to for your 8:30 slot.
Oh, you are ever classy, aren't you? Ever classy. Nah, yeah, could have been, and I'm sure if things had been going well, then we may well have continued the afternoon in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, it was an. I've got a thing where it's there's a big difference between a first date and an only date. So a first date is a first date of more than one. You can't have a first of something, but an only date is when this is it, this is done, And I knew it was going to be an only date, not only with a lack of engagement leading up to it, but the moment we were walking from the train station to the bar, and we were in London, we're in Paddington, and we're walking through the streets and so on, and talking about, I'm from London, I love it, it's great sitting over and all that. So, oh no, I hate London. What?
After you said I'm from London, she followed it up with I hate London.
Yeah. And there was part of me. It was just like, all right, see you later. I'm get back on the tube. Yeah. But I wanted to, it's nice just to get back in the swing of talking to people and just being around someone and working out what you can and can't say. So I needed to practice.
Find yourself being more risque, dropping a few conversational bombs, knowing that this wasn't going anywhere. Did you find did you like challenge? Did you tickle the subject? Did you like be a bit like risque? Did you?
No, because that's leading the conversation on in a certain direction. It's not going to go. So for me, it was just
fun with it.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit. Basically, I'm going to use this. Like when you're going for a run, you need to stretch. You need to warm up. And you need to just get your muscles back into the mindset of we're going to work hard on this. And this was just me and my dating muscles. It was just, okay, let's just crack open some of those stories, crack open some of the rhythm, crack open some of the kind of flow of a conversation, and just get back into the swing of things.
I think she was sent to you as a blessing.
You reckon?
Yeah, because if it started with I'm from London, response, I hate London. That's about as challenging as it gets. She had to be an absolute 8 or 9 stunner to come back from that, or hilariously funny. Like it was just a room, just a setup.
Yeah, she was lovely in so many ways, but no, she was not my girl.
Well, good on there for getting out there. I noticed in your picture you had an Estrella.
Yeah, so you turn up. You when you book the table, you get a couple of cocktails each anyway. But then when it came to ordering after that, so the waitress, we ordered a pint of Estrella, whatever it is, and then a random cocktail. I don't know which one it was. There was a menu, just kind of pointed.
What was that frothy thing in the pint glass? So the tall, with it looks like it had a Mr. Whippy on top. But what was that? By the way, Glenn shared a picture of himself in the pub. It shared a picture of the drinks actually in the pub. I just thought you'd ordered 3 drinks. I didn't realize you were on a date.
No, I was on a date there, but it was great when the bar staff came over and put the drinks out and didn't know who to give which one to, because my date had ordered the pint and I'd ordered the cocktail, and she was like, "No, this can't be right. This isn't right. I mean, you're a man. You're not supposed to drink cocktails, and you're a woman. You're not supposed to drink pints." You could see the confusion on their face, and it was quite nice to bust open those gender norms.
Always challenging norms and conventions. Glenn, I love that. And any shots? So it didn't go raucous either. It kind of stayed.
No,
No.
No. Couple of drinks and that was it. Couple of drinks, nice conversation, chatting about flying and traveling and rugby and all this sort of stuff. I'm not into rugby that much. Just don't really care. It's a bit boring. It's just kind of a bunch of blokes shoving each other. Yeah.
National rugby, or was she going down like, team?
No, she plays rugby.
So you went out for a drink with a lesbian?
No, and she didn't look like your stereotypical. You think of a rugby player,
cauliflower ears, eyes bigger than you. She ordered a pint of bitter, and she said she hates London. What were you?
She's 5 foot.
Did you accidentally swipe? She was a hooker, right? Not a hooker. She played hooker.
Yeah, I don't know what she's only like 5'3" or something like that, skinny and like small, but she just loves the game somehow. So yeah, that's what she does to get her kicks.
I take that back to all our LGBTQT listeners and viewers. You don't have to be a lesbian to play ladies rugby. I just happen to have met a few female rugby players who were all lesbians. So little backtrack, dig myself out of a hole there. But the days of I don't know if I miss it or not, but it used to be whenever you went out for a drink, it would always end up in a massive piss up. There was just no kind of 1 or 2 drinks. I think university days, living in London, the girlfriend, her friend runs a pub, and they said that this last few weeks since lockdown has meant people could drink outside. They would normally get through 1 bottle a week of Jägermeister.
Same.
They're getting.
I mean. Sorry, no, far fewer bottles. Carry on.
They're getting through 10 a week at the moment.
Okay, no, I mean that's a bit aggressive.
They've had to recruit glass collectors because people are drinking so fast they can't. It's not like they can't get them in quick enough to let alone wash up quick enough. People are just.
What is it? That's one of the things, because it's like when you used to go to a pub on a Friday night, and it'd be last orders, and of course everyone would go to the bar and say I'll have 15 pints, and so they order drinks because they knew they had to get them and then neck them down in a short period of time because you're running out of time. That's what it's like if you've only got 3 hours of drinking time. You've got to make the most of that 3 hours, so people turn up, lager, and then stagger off into the distance.
Yeah. People say that has been a good change for British culture. But I think I miss that. I think there's a lot to be said for go out. It's like rush, rat-assed, like absolute madness and mayhem. Then they shut and they kick you out. Then you're all out on the street like, talking to people. Okay, obviously the fighting was not so ideal, but the fun and the hilarity of it all. Then stumble into some nightclub and on you'd go. It's just. Yeah, there's a bit of British. Maybe with Brexit they'll bring it back.
Oh, no doubt they will. If it's something that isn't entirely progressive and positive, then that's what Brexit's all about. Let's be honest.
There's a checklist somewhere. Next up, pub opening times. I right honourable man from Whitstable. Yes.
Talking about right honourables, I'm eagerly awaiting the vote count in London, because I am desperate to see how many more votes Count Binface gets than Lawrence Fox.
So Lawrence Fox, as in Lawrence, what, the guy that was married to the woman who started lastminute.com?
Lawrence Fox, I think he used to be married to Billy Piper.
Hang on a minute.
Something like that.
Someone called Lawrence Fox. I don't think it's.
I hope not. He's yeah. Well, this Lawrence Fox is, and I will happily say it on the record, a racist, xenophobic wanker, absolute wanker.
Glenn, I think you should say what you would think.
And he's a scumbag. But he's standing for election, and he's spent probably, I think his campaign budget was about £5 million. And he was polling in the London mayoral elections at 1%, which is exactly the same as Count Binface was doing. Count Binface is the same. He's the person who does Lord Buckethead, So he's fought against Boris and Theresa May and all that sort of stuff, and he's up for a London election as well.
Ah, yes, I see. Count Bucketface. What's he called? Lord Binface. Yes.
Yes, I think so like that.
Here we go. For those watching, let's bring this in. We have a little share of the old screenage. There he is. So
British politics at its best.
Count Binface tying with Lawrence Fox in London mayoral race. And wow, so is he conservative or independent, or what's he?
I think he's either kind of UKIP type thing or whatever the new UKIP is.
With UKIP knob face.
Yeah, he's pretty much in that world. He's like I've heard him described as a Waitrose Tommy Robinson.
That's a good description.
Yeah. So even if you don't know who he is, you would understand him by that sort of thing.
Headline is, this frames it for you. Lawrence Fox vows to reverse London war on motorists. Yeah.
Oh, he's also vowed to make every school, and he hasn't got the powers to, even if he was mayor, he wouldn't have the powers to do this, but he wants to force every school, every morning, every kid in the school to basically pledge allegiance to the British flag, and to force every government and school and every building to be flying British flags. He wants to end lockdown within the next 6 weeks. Lockdown's already fucking ending in the next 6 weeks, you knob.
He'll be like, and I want this to start in 6 weeks' time. Excuse me, Lawrence. Shut up. No, Lawrence. Did you know? I don't care if it's ended already. Did he end it already? Okay, next up.
He's just an absolute cock.
Did you manage to vote? I mean, this is apparently 20% turnout in Kent. 20%.
It's stupidly low, and I hate this, but I'm part of the 80% who didn't vote this year. And it's the first time I've not voted since I was eligible to vote. And it was simply because I had to be in work for a certain period, a certain time, and then I was out on a date until 9:30 at night. So I couldn't get to a polling station in time. The only thing I could have done is wake up at 6 a.m. And I'll be honest, I was shattered. It's been a long few weeks of work, and I just didn't wake up in time to get to the polling station before then travelling into London to go to work.
Imagine if Lawrence Fox was also running for the Kent police commissioner, and your one vote meant that Lawrence Fox had won it.
You say that in the 2016 elections, I did the vote count, and and one. Yeah, not all of it. I didn't count every vote. I contributed to this. And one of the councillors there won their vote, 797 to 798. I've never seen adult human beings so stressed about adding up and counting. And there was a handful of like no votes and unclear votes and stuff like that. And I've never seen it, but it proves it. Every vote bloody matters in most elections.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to
vote then.
This, but I've always voted. I might have missed one or two randomly in my life, and I take my kids every time I vote, so they get an idea. So I'm ingraining it into them as well. That voting is just what you do. People died and are still dying for the right to vote. I'm all for fining people if they. Or what I decided was, if you don't vote in 3 or 2 consecutive elections, you get the right to vote taken away from you. And then to get it back, you have to do something like a
community service,
a community spirited action to earn your vote back.
That's interesting. That sounds like an interesting manifesto pledge. I'll vote for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Or I'll intend to, and then I'll probably skip it, you know.
I'm also voting to end lockdown
in 6 weeks.
Well, I'll tell you what is happening in the realms of lockdown in about slightly less than 6 weeks is the Istanbul COVID party for all our soccer fans out there, soccer fans.
We're talking about the Champions League final.
Yes.
If people weren't into football, you know, what's the story?
The story is that Chelsea FC of a London-based soccer team owned by
the London Blues.
They have made it to the Champions League final. And Manchester City, owned by a entire country of oil diggers, they have also made it to the Champions League final. Now, the curious thing about this is that the final is going to be in Istanbul, which is some kind of 3,000 miles away. Made up number, by the way.
That bit I've got no worries about, because I went to the Champions League final when Spurs played Liverpool a few years ago, and it was out in Madrid. And yes, we could have technically played it at Wembley. Not we couldn't, because the UEFA wouldn't let us, but theoretically we could have arranged it so it's in the UK and it's easier for fans to get to. But there was something about going out to Madrid, going out to a different country and doing that. But that was normal times.
Yeah, I'd have done anything to go. Well, I say anything. If I had been offered a ticket, I'd have totally been there. But yeah, it just cracks me up, the idea that they're going to give 4,000 tickets to Chelsea, 4,000 tickets to Man City, and 8,000 British people, plus a few Russians and Arabs, are going to go to Istanbul, which is currently on full red alert for COVID. And there's this idea that it's all going to be all right. And I couldn't understand how, although TalkSport were justifying it on the basis that UEFA and sponsors, and they'd earned it, they deserved it, they couldn't take it away from them 2 years running. It's like, yeah, but because apparently the whole Italian first COVID wave was caused by a couple of super spreader events at Champions League matches where Spanish and Italian teams played each other, and then a week after played the return leg, and just created this massive COVID soup, and it went like wildfire. So no surprise the British government have put Turkey on the red list today. So.
Have you seen the green list?
What? No, I haven't. Who's on the green list?
You'll be pleased to know that such islands, such places such as the Falklands, St. Vincent, I think the Faroe Islands are on the green list as well. Basically, it's just a whole bunch of islands that Britain pretty much still owns. So it's not really, I mean, who the fuck is going to go away on holiday to the Falklands?
a sheep farmer?
Although really they've put places like, they've put New Zealand on the list. And I'm wondering, like, we can say it's okay for us to go there, but I'm pretty sure New Zealand are going to say, wait a minute, fuck off. You can't come here. You get on the plane. That's fine. You ain't getting in the country. It doesn't matter whether we're on your list. You're not on our list.
Yeah, how does that work? Yeah, I love this whole thing about Boris and the. I'd rather see people stacked up. I'd rather see piles of dead people than do another lockdown. Right? I'm okay with that. Not okay with dead people stuff. I'm okay with them like shut the door, just get on with some government business. It should be kind of, what do they call it? Chatham House rules. Like once the door's closed.
There's only one Chatham House rule.
Oh, is there? What? Tell me.
Oh wait, no, it literally is. Everyone says Chatham House rules, but the only rule is you can repeat anything that gets said in a Chatham House rule meeting. Anything that gets said, you can repeat it, but you can't attribute it to anyone that was in that room. Which people often think that's a Chatham House rule. That's not confidential, you know. And if there's only 3 people in a room, and and one of them's Russian, and the thing that comes out of it is talking about Russian politics, you probably can work out who it is.
There's a black guy and a Russian, and one said.
But the idea is, if you've got a room full of 100 people and stuff gets said, anything can be shared. But you just can't say who said what.
The amount of times I've been at a meeting and someone said, "Oh, Chatham House rule." Yeah, I guess everyone just figures you can't repeat what's been said inside here. But no, once again, Glenn dropped some fact bombs on us there. Really, really good stuff. I'm now going to go away and think about all the things that I can repeat that I previously thought I couldn't. I'll have to do like one of those regressive hypnotherapy things and take me back, find some random thoughts where it was not maybe that hard.
That's scary. I wouldn't do that. If I've forgotten about it, probably it's because I've repressed the memory. The good things that would come out of it would not be worth the bad things. I would totally do Total Recall if I could. You know, just going in and just changing parts of your memory and getting rid of some bad shit and putting some new random good stuff in the play. In that happened, even if it didn't.
Yeah, but again, Elon, I heard his podcast talking about us being able to do things like that, like put all our memory.
Sign me up. Take my money
on a hard drive and be able to access them better. Yeah, I think there's, well, oh my God, that's throwing up some twisted thoughts in my mind. Yeah, let's just stick to the fun ones. Yeah, I'd go back and do some like that. Although I have got some shocking pictures of me at some of our university days looking like I had definitely overexerted things. I have no business looking this healthy. I can tell you.
By the way, have you bought yourself any good birthday presents?
No, I've primed the good lady and then let the kids, basically I've set something up so that she said to the kids, have you thought about what your dad might like? And they said, I don't know what they said, but then she said, oh, he was talking about this picture the other day about when you were all on holiday to the beach. Then, of course, my boy sort of brings it up in a very casual way, like I didn't know at all. It was so cute. He was like, oh, you remember that time we were, where would I find the picture of that? So it was great. He did an awesome job in bringing the subject up. So that's getting handled. And turns out Rosie had some pretty clear ideas, which the good lady is making happen. Yeah. So, but no, I think normally I do buy myself some stuff, but I bought the Apple Watch.
Oh yeah, of course you did. Yeah,
about 2 months ago. So
still loving it.
Oh, I am loving it. Can you? Have you? I can't work out how to beep stuff with it. Can you? You must be surely better.
Yeah. I use it. I still feel a bit weird when I getting on the tube and you don't even have to double tap it. You just put it over the thing and it does the thing.
The NFC thing. I just haven't worked out how to actually click and beep it, like beep it.
Beep it? When you say beep it, you're talking about paying for stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, just there's this is going to be all full on podcast, but you've got your dial there. Below that, you've got a little button.
Yeah.
Double click it, and it brings up your Apple Wallet. And then if I've got multiple cards,
that is mega.
So I can choose which card I want. And Robert's your mother's brother.
Happy days. Look at that.
Honestly, I say this. I don't know where my debit card is. It's in my house somewhere. I've got no idea where it is. But I've been using it for 6 months on my phone and on my watch. I don't know where the actual card is, but the thing's loaded on.
Absolutely mega. So Glenn, we're at 37 minutes, right? Do you remember last week we tried to play the advert game?
The advert game. I do remember last week in the advert game.
I've got it sorted, right? I can now do audio and visual, right? So for our podcast listeners, you're going to get the audio. You remember when there was adverts on TV shows and in America
that you couldn't skip. You couldn't skip
them at all. In America, they come flipping every 5 minutes. But in the UK, we just used to get a nice little advert break in the middle and at the end, right? So
just enough time for you to get to the toilet and back.
Yeah, actually quite useful. And the adverts were much better back then than they are now. So my brother and I, obviously to fill this void of time, this lost time, we created a game called the advert game, where as the advert came up, you had to guess what the advert was. First person to guess it got the point. At the end of the advert break, there obviously you had a winner. No doubt we disagreed about the points and that turned into a fight. But the premise of the game is all good. Now you're going to have to turn a little turn around here, Glenn, because he's going to put the mask on. Right, do that. Share screen. We're already sharing screen. Just flipping share screen, and we want the audio as well.
So am I allowed to watch the advert? Have I just got to listen to it?
It's coming. Right, here we go. First advert.
Can I watch it?
I don't know. Well, that doesn't really.
Or have I got to get it by just the sound?
You can watch it if you want. Yeah, you can watch it. In the true essence of the game, my brother and I will be watching it. Okay, here we go.
Timotei. Oh, this is flake chocolate.
It is flake chocolate. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Properly?
Well, enough. I can hear it enough.
It should be coming through your headphones. Yes, that is the Flake advert. Very sensual. She's soaking wet. She's soaking wet. She's eating chocolate like she's doing a blowjob, basically.
That's all it was. Yeah.
Actually gave me the horn. I was watching. I was like, I never realised the advert was so horny. Actually gave me the horn. So next advert. This is going to be easy. As soon as you see the picture, you're going to get it. Can you get it from that?
No, I'm deliberately not looking underneath. I bloody remember this. What was it? Oh no! Press play.
Every sportsman must decide on which.
Oh, this is a beer advert, Hofmeister or something like that.
Hofmeister, follow the bear. There we go. 2 points to Glenn, aka a dating dad.
Delivery without spillage.
Because that would have been around in the 80s, and of course I was only a kid in the 80s. I was born in 1980, so yeah, I'm really digging into my memory banks here.
A
great lager. Follow the bear.
Look at those cans as well.
I know. Proper adverts. Right, here comes the classic. Third and final advert. See if you can take it home with 3 out of 3.
Oh, this is J.R. Hartley, and this is the Yellow Pages.
Oh, you do. Lovely. Yes, my name. J.R. Hartley.
Oh, the days when you had the Yellow Pages was a thing. There was no Amazon. He's going from bookshop to bookshop to bookshop to find his own damn book.
And with the expectation that he would eventually find it. You can't do that now. If you're going down, the idea that you could actually find what you want is slim at best. Twisted, you take your phone out and order the bloody thing and have it delivered the next day. But there you are in tech.
Not even the next day. So I got a little bit of extra money this month, and I decided to treat myself. I was sitting there, laying in bed on my Todd, and I'm listening to my Amazon Echo thing. It's a first gen one. It sounds all right, but I was thinking, I'm sure they must be better. So I invested in there's these Amazon Echo Studios, and it's got, like, instead of one little 15 watt, it's got 300 watts of power or something like that.
I saw your Twitter picture on it. If you're not following Glenn at a dating dad on Twitter yet, then please do. I saw your post about it, and I'm the same as you. I'm like, I can't buy the most basic one. There's got to be a better one, and it does look meaty. Does it sound good?
Yes, it's fucking glorious. It's really, really solid, nice sound. But then as I was reading, so I did my due diligence, I noticed a few people saying, oh, and they're brilliant when you got two of them in stereo. So, okay. But they're not dirt cheap. They're about 190 quid or something like that. But then as soon as I got one, it was so good. I was like, fuck. Now I know that something can be better. And not just that, everyone kept saying, oh, and there's a sub you can get as well. And it looks cool. And you can just put it down and it really adds the low end. And this thing arrived at sort of 10 a.m. About 10 a.m. in the morning. And by 8 p.m. that night, the other two things had turned up at my house because I decided that's it. I want it. Prime is so dangerous because you can just get it instantly, same day delivery, not even next day delivery. This is same day delivery.
In Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, when the Baron Blomqvist kidnaps the car and they put it down in the cellar, and all the old blokes who are like scientists in the car trying to work it out.
The roses of success.
Yes. All other shops look at Amazon Prime. They're like, oh, God, how do they bloody do this? Get me a car that flies. Get me shopping that can be delivered in the same day. And
it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Well, I'm not kidding, and I'm not. This isn't an exaggeration. I spent that whole night laying in bed listening to the beautiful sounds, the glorious music, and had it loud. I was giggling to myself at how good it sounded. Sometimes you buy something that's expensive and you regret it. But this is one of those things where I bought it and I'm never going to regret having this beautiful sound.
I'm all in with you on that. Some things just have to get the premium version. You do need to update your dating profile now, because you have to have a future girlfriend has to be tuned into this. She has to appreciate these things as much, surely.
Oh, yeah, this is the thing. I'm curating my bedroom for the better my bedroom gets in terms of a place to just spend time and enjoy it, even without me involved. The fewer women are getting to see my bedroom. So I think my next house, I might just have a slab on the floor and a dirty old blanket, because you know what, that might even out the odds a little bit.
The universe. No, I think you're narrowing it down so that the perfect. It's like a cut, like a silhouette, like Cinderella's slipper. When she turns up, she will just fit in perfectly, and she'll be an audiophile, and she'll like London, and she'll drink.
That's the plan. That is the plan, and I've decided. So I'm reminded me. Remember we talked about that photo pub crawl. They reminded me that pubs are starting to open up again soon, so I'm going to actually get that in the diary for either late June, early July, I reckon.
Well, I'm sure you've got some photographer friends, but Rick Say in the Team Superdad community, he's up for doing it. He's up for it.
Excellent. Well, Rick, yeah, let's get in touch and go along, and we shall work out some awesome places around the greatest city in the world to take some brilliant photos. And if any other Team Superdad people want to come, even if you don't want to get photos taken for your dating profile, if you just want to come for a nice pub crawl, why not? You know, it's a perfect excuse to see some of the greatest bars in the world.
And I'm going to say, in my opinion, women are welcome on there, because there's a good chance that the good lady would like to come to this. I think.
I'd love it. See,
bring other friends, Glenn. This could be good.
Yeah. This is part of it. I'm going to put it out on Twitter as well, so we don't know who's going to turn up, and there will be women there who want to have their photos taken. So, as much as it's not a matchmaking-y type event, there will probably be single people there, and you can mingle. And at worst, you can big me up. That's all I'm asking. I want a fleet of wingmen. That's all.
If you like good sound in the bedroom, Glenn is
artificially created sound. But if you want to contribute to that, by all means, I'm sure I can get some sort of karaoke machine.
Well, listen, I got something to tell you about the relationship update. So I made. Did you see my video about at the end of the duathlon the other week?
No, I saw like a few seconds at the start of it, but I didn't see the whole thing, so I wanted to speak to you about it. So
I said this kind of crept up on me, right? I'm quite an all-in type person, right? So and so I'm quite emotionally led. So when things are going well, I feel like I can get a bit carried away from me. Hence how I ended up proposing to my former wife after being together for 6 weeks. So I have been conscious of keeping all things in check, but it just kind of crept up on me. So as I'm talking about the duathlon, and I was like, oh yeah, and it was absolutely mega to finish and have someone there, someone you look forward to seeing, someone that you love, someone that you, and I was like,
whoa, sweet child of mine, back up. Was that?
It just came out. It just
the L word.
Yeah, I dropped the L bomb. Yeah, I dropped the L bomb.
But did she know this? Did she hear it?
Well, no, then I was left in a quandary about whether she had heard it or not. So
Did you intend to say it? I mean, was it just like a throwaway phrase, or? And I don't know if it's a place to get deep and meaningful. Do you mean it in the way that society means love?
Well, having inadvertently said it, but very naturally said it. And by the way, after that, we sat and hung out by the car as everybody else kind of left, and the sun was shining, and we were just sat literally by the car, hanging out, chatting. Sun was shining on us. My legs were throbbing like an absolute bastard. And and it was just lush. It felt really cool to be with someone that was just wanted to be there and great to be.
Mm-hmm.
So so and it was just after that, after she left, it was just after that I made the video. So then I was kind of like, oh well, I was like, oh no, did she hear? Did I not hear? So they just like kind of played on me about whether that was exactly how I was feeling or not. So so yeah, I'm enjoying things developing. I'm enjoying things developing, and
Mm-hmm.
what I want to say to our Team Superdad audience is at 47, as I'm going to be on Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
I know what I want out of a relationship now,
Yeah.
and I know what a dickhead I've been in the past. And I think having that clarity and confidence and being really upfront and honest about things right from the start, like nothing really hidden, what I want, how I feel, and meeting someone who's very much my equal in those ways. She's kind of the same. So one minute
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about, the next minute we're talking about health and how, like not very well this or doing all right that. Then we're talking about work and ideas for that. And then we're having a laugh about favorite movies and what type of gin and tonic we're having. So it's just, plus she's fit as hell. So like every time I see her, I go, oh my gosh, this is epic. So yeah, so it just came out. So I think what I'm saying is it's important to be clear about what you want. But then when something that is exactly what you want walks into your life, I kind of just couldn't help myself, really. So it's cool. I think I see a lot of single dad groups and parenting groups and people talking about, oh, I can't find someone. It's not worth it. No one loves me. What's the point? Literally so much. What's the point? What's the point? And
Love's the point.
yeah,
Those people can't have ever felt love, because anyone who's ever felt love properly, not love doesn't last all the time, and things happen and life happens and it doesn't last forever perhaps, but while it lasts, it imprints upon you, it changes you, and it's addictive in a way that it feels so good that it's worth the pain, it's worth any problems that go along with it if it does end, for all the amazing things. And so to realize you're feeling that way and you've got that within you still, that's the point. That's the point of life. What's the point of life if you're not going to love, and you don't feel the happiness that could bring? You can love yourself by all means. I always say, like, my life's a 10 out of 10. I feel absolutely solid, happy, and all this sort of stuff. But with the right person to love, it will be an 11 out of 10. And that's what we're all aiming for. That's what we're hoping for. And I'm so chuffed that you're on that path and you're feeling that side of things.
yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good to let yourself open. It's good to notice. It's good to smell the rain in the morning, see a bird in a tree, watch the changing color of the sun come up. Like if you're closed to all of those things, then I don't think you're going to notice that you're falling in love with someone, or that that's okay.
So I guess the next stage is to tell her to her face. And there's no time limit on that.
I know.
Some point...
So I have done that already, basically.
You have? How'd she take it?
She took it well. I think she I think it was what am I trying to say? So I think it was a bit like, oh, honestly, I think it was a bit like, oh, but I've also, it's like there's a layer of our communication and connection that has increased since. because I think we might, given that I'd accidentally said it and then I said it, I think she was sort of feeling the same way, or at least having feelings like that. And what followed was a conversation. It was like, well, she was like, well, I feel the same, and I feel like I'm in this for the long run, you know. We were both like, and that doesn't mean anything, like, because you can say that when you're 47 years old. It's like there's no significance or expectation here, but by the same token, I don't want to be with someone I don't want to be with. Let's enjoy this, you know.
Yeah, I guess it's about saying something that is absolutely true in that moment, and right at that moment, you believe it and you feel it, and that's honest. You know, how it pans out is the future's issue, but at that moment, the fact you're both seemingly in the same place and you're both looking at the same sort of direction, the same sort of future, the future will sort itself out. But right now, that's magical, man. That's a really amazing moment, and to know you're in that moment and to acknowledge that and recognize it whilst you're in it, rather than looking back in the past and saying, "Oh, it was quite good, actually. I wish I'd realized it at the time." That's a huge thing.
Yeah, I'm just pondering that. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that people that don't let themselves flow, I think you're missing stuff. You know, you could spend weeks trying to work out if it was right or not. You could spend, and I'll tell you something as well. This is probably a bit too real to broadcast. Anyway, when you meet someone, when I first met the girlfriend, you know, she's attractive, but you start like, oh, is she this or is she that, or is she, you know, what's wrong with her? Like looking for things that are wrong, and to judge people like that on the first, second, or third time you've met them isn't right. Like she's way more. She's an attractive woman, right? But she's even more attractive now. And I don't know. Maybe that's the same for everybody. You don't. Sometimes you meet someone and fall head over heels in love with them. Other times there's a natural connection before the attraction. Other times you're attracted and then realize they're a dickhead. I guess. But to meet someone and just be like, this is pretty awesome, and just allow different levels to keep coming at me and get to know someone deeper and deeper and deeper, and then fall for them fall for them in more ways. I think people shouldn't put too much on those first few dates. You know, if there's definitely not a connection, there's not one. But equally, if it feels remotely good, then go with the flow and allow yourself to get to know the person, to enjoy them, to start to see them in different lights, in different ways. I'm not a big fan of makeup. So the first time I saw her without makeup on, I was like, there you are, and you're even more attractive without makeup. I'm a bit weird about makeup. I think women, an attractive woman looks generally more attractive without makeup, in my opinion. Drag queens aside.
Yeah, drag queens tend to look more characterful with a face full of a slap on it.
Yeah, I definitely find drag queens more attractive.
By the way, just for the record, slap is like it's I don't know if it's Cockney rhyming slang. It's slang for makeup. I'm not advocating anybody goes out and slaps a drag queen, because usually they will knock you the fuck out.
They're badass. They are badass. I've never seen a drag act. I don't think. I'm not live.
Yeah.
No, I don't think live. No.
Oh man, they are a lot of fun. In fact, we should go at some point. You, me, and Sharon are going to go to Madame Moumou's, which is a kind of a drag club cabaret type evening in Maidstone, because we both live in Maidstone or near there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And afterwards, there's a nightclub next door. And I remember going in there once and doing the thing. And then afterwards, there's a little bit of dancing happens upstairs. And the drag queen who Madame Moumou was just basically going around, and you could see all this is Maidstone, isn't it? It's fucking load of geezers. They've just been dragged out by their birds. I don't know this. And of course, this drag queen would just just walk up to them and start dancing and grinding and embarrassing the shit out of them. And then she's come over to me, and she didn't realise I can slut drop with the best of them. And so, yeah, absolutely went to town. It was one of the most enjoyable dance-offs I've ever been involved in.
Well, my dancing is very rave-like. I'm all legs and arms, basically. It looks like a daddy long legs on his back, basically.
Oh. I'll say my style is definitely classed as enthusiastic, and that's about the best way you can describe it.
I think I'm a way better dancer than I actually am. That's
the way it should be. Just enjoy it. See, there's the old phrase, dance as if nobody's looking. Fuck that. I dance as if everybody's looking and they all think I am the best fucking dancer in the world.
So here's my best dance / rave story, right? We were at a rave underneath this like warehouse thing in East London. I couldn't tell you where it was because it was the middle of the night and I didn't drive. But it was awesome. It was definitely one of the best parties I've ever been to. And at one point, I was in one of the rooms on a podium at the front. And it was like it was pretty high up. And as I was on the podium dancing, one of the lights shone from across the side of the room onto the wall next to me. So I'm dancing. It's a rave. It's in the 90s. So clearly I'm had some extracurricular ingredients in the evening. So I'm looking at I'm looking at the thousands of people. Right? I'm also looking at the wall and this kind of dancing thing in the circle of the light. And at whatever point, as I'm watching this, I realized that it's my shadow. I realized that it's my shadow in this overwhelming moment of like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I overcooked it and slipped off the front of the podium and kind of did this sort of stage dive into a group of people, which was more like a crash basically, and got a nosebleed, which was a curious experience as well. But the moment I realized it was my shadow is ingrained in my memory banks as an epic.
Nice.
Ridiculous 19-year-old. I think I played rugby the next morning, as I recall, which is one of the weirdest games of rugby I've ever enjoyed.
Still off your tits.
Exactly. Yeah. So next time we do this, Glenn, I'll be older. I'll be 47.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We haven't really talked about goals and targets. I think I'll do that next week. Every year I kind of have this idea that by this time next year, Rodney, it will be like
I'll be a millionaire.
Yeah. I hadn't factored in a pandemic, I must admit. So the big blip of 2020 doesn't really count. But nonetheless, I'm not quite where I want to be financially. But relationship, my kids are great. I'm fit and healthy. I've got a mildly successful and hugely enjoyable podcast. And yeah, it's all set to go. This time next year, Rodney, indeed.
You'll have nailed all 5 of the Fs.
Yes, and that is not a drag quintet. On that note, by the way, if you are listening, watching towards the end, then thank you for staying this long. It is a real pleasure to have had you all the way. You can join in with the wrap up just by commenting as we're going along. We didn't have any comments tonight, which they're all in the pub.
It's late. It's late on a Friday night. Yeah, I can understand why we haven't got the
drinking Jägermeister with rugby playing ladies. I know that to be true. Next week, buddy, I will see you on the wrap up. Look forward to it.
Happy birthday in the week, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for watching, guys. Team Superdad out. Bye.
This has been Team Superdad. Find us at teamsuperdad.com. Join the program and create the best life ever for you and your children. You are not alone. You're on Team Super Dad.